Do you think, I know this is a little bit off track, but have you seen examples where people have not been successful in their career, particularly early years, because of poor leadership? Like, you mean they've been led astray on values because they had a leader that was struggling?
I have seen it in some of the roles that I've had in early days, where really good colleagues have got all the skill in the world, but just did not align to the manager that was managing them. And this was an example, in my first role, that I had another colleague. They were more insular, more introverted. I was a little bit more extroverted. The manager was a lot more extroverted, and so I got along with that manager exceptionally well. But my introverted colleague just didn't know how to deal with some of the language that was coming from the manager, and my colleague was so superior in terms of skill set to me, but just couldn't resonate with the manager and where the manager was coming from, because the manager hadn't taken into account what this type of person was, because they hadn't been trained. They didn't have enough experience in recognizing how to get the best out of people. But you see that continually over and over again. Good quality people, one, aren't managed the right way, and so you don't get to see the best. You don't get to see the best of them. And it's just a missed opportunity sometimes.
Absolutely. But I think that bit that I'd like, I think if you're talking to young people and they're starting in jobs, is you want them to be aware that actually you might end up working with a leader that's not that great. And it's not to sort of, it's not to suggest that they should, they should have some sort of arrogance around knowing that. It's more to suggest, how do you deal with somebody that's that you're going to struggle naturally to work with? What coping mechanisms have you got? How much can you build resilience towards that person's style so that you're still developing yourself? And it's about you as an individual, right? Like
absolutely.
You shouldn't, and I think you shouldn't let leaders take you off course if you think, I'm not really comfortable with this is where this is going. This is not helping my career development.
And sometimes, Scott, the employee outlasts the manager if they hung on long enough and pushed through that situation. But in our environment, in our environment now in business, you tend to just pull the pin and exit really quickly. Yep. But the reality is, 2 months later, that manager is no longer there, and that manager was the one holding you back in that situation.
Yeah.
What if situation? So we tend to jump off a lot earlier now than what we did, 10, 15 years ago. And one of the things I would say that young graduates coming through, or their first job is not going to be their greatest job. But what they've got to recognize and learn is that sometimes you've got to stay the course, no matter whether you like it or not. And what will eventually happen is you'll work through it, and you'll find a happy medium where you get some enjoyment, some frustration. There's some colleagues that you really want to work with, a couple of managers in other departments that you can get to work with. So you still get 70, 80% of good stuff, yet you get 20% of stuff that you don't really want. But you've got to be able to hang on sometimes and get some longevity and prove to prospective employers that you can stick at the course, stick through things, because things don't really start to happen in your journey. They really start to happen beyond 12 months, 2 years. But by that stage, you're getting comfortable with who you are. You know what you need to deliver, and that's when you actually start to contribute even more, because you're a lot more comfortable. But a lot of young people tend to jump off under 12 months, and it's just not enough time to spend in a business to really get a feel for it or understanding of it for whatever the situation might be. And sometimes we're talking about the general people should hang on. Yes, there are going to be situations where where you need to jump off, but we are seeing more people jumping off. And what it makes it harder is for organizations like us, when you see a scattered resume of 6 months here, 9 months there, 8 months here, you start to question, well, why isn't this person have any longevity here? And they may be the best skilled person and they may be the right employee, but you can't mount a case for them because the statistics aren't in their favor.